best traits is that I'm honest and I have a great work ethic. An amazing combination, don't you think? Sometimes I wonder. I was having a conversation with someone recently, and this memory popped out of the archives into my mind. They didn't teach driver's ed in school when I was in high school, but we could take it for a fee, of course, at a private school nearby. I did just that, which entitled us to get our driver's license a year earlier. Each class was made up of your school, so mine was Forest Hills High School. It was a class of all boys with the exception of myself and one other girl. We had an hour classroom class and then an hour of driving, 4 students at a time in the car. One day during his lecture on car care, the instructor spoke to learning about the inner workings of your car and asked me a question about the engine. Not being knowledgeable at all about what's under the hood, I hesitated, and a boy behind me whispered the answer in my ear, which I repeated aloud. Of course, the instructor noticed what had transpired. I asked Karen, "What will you do when you're 30 years old and stuck on the Long Island Expressway?" My response was, "I'll call the AAA." Of course, everyone laughed, even the instructor, so I was off the hook. Having said all this, I was not a good mechanics student. However, I was a good driving student. I did pass the course and go on to take the driving test. I must have looked quite young to the driving inspector because as soon as we started, he asked how long I had been driving. Remember when I mentioned earlier that I am honest? Well, I'm also good at math and calculated the 15 minutes of actual driving time I had each lesson and the amount of lessons I had taken and came up with the answer. So instead of saying something like, "Since September," which really wasn't a lie, I said something like 10 hours, and he failed me. Although I did well on the actual test, he wrote "inexperience" diagonally across the paper. So, here's my question. Is there such a thing as being too honest?